Hello and welcome to Empowered Souls, a podcast for women who are ready to reclaim their power and create the life of joy and purpose they came here to live. I'm your host, Verónica, a coach and energy healer, and my mission is to help you break free from what is no longer serving you so you can elevate yourself and live your highest life. It's time for the deep healing, for new levels of transformation. It's time to do the great things your soul is calling you to do. Are you ready to truly step into your power and become the extraordinary woman you were always meant to be? Let's get started. Hello, my beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of the Empowered Souls podcast. If you have just landed in this podcast for the first time, welcome and thank you for being here. And if you have been following the Positive Mindset Tribe, just to let you know that I am the same person. I just have renamed the podcast to Empowered Souls, following a recent personal transformation process I have been going through, and I feel that Empowered Souls matches me more and is much more aligned with who I am now and what my soul is calling me to do and to talk about. So today's episode is going to be a 6-step process to step into your power. When we are not in our power, it is easy to take on the victim role, and instead of being in control of our life, then we might feel that we have just to survive whatever life throws at us. And so we forget that we have the power to create the life we want. We don't just have to settle for a life we don't like. That's not what we came here to do. And we have the power to change our lives. No matter where you're at the moment, you have the power and everything you need is inside you already. So stepping into your power is key if you want to own and create the life of joy and purpose that you came here to live. And anyone can do this. And it is much easier than you think, I promise. So what I want to share with you in this episode is a 6-step process that I have lined out, which I call the Empower Method. And this is what I have been using for years to help my one-on-one clients reclaim their power so they can bring more joy and more purpose to their lives. And this is what I'm going to be sharing with you, this step-by-step process that, like I said, is much easier and much more enjoyable than you might think. Okay, so let's get started and go straight to step number 1. So step number 1 is all about self-discovery to gain awareness. The very first step to reclaim your power is to identify what is not working in your life and what has potential for improvement, because you can't change something you are not even aware of. And there are many people that go through their lives completely oblivious that maybe some old stories or past events are holding them back. They're not aware that the mindset is not serving them and is keeping them stuck. So yeah, a lot of people are completely unaware of the huge world of possibilities they have within, and they just settle for a life, for the life that maybe their family or society programmed them to be, and they go to a job they hate and their life feels just grey and dull, but they just distract themselves going to the bar during the weekends or spending time on social media, and they're not even aware of. So going through a process of self-discovery to gain that awareness, of what needs to be changed, what is not working here. So a few questions here that I'm going to throw in case someone wants to spend some time on self-reflection, maybe even journaling about it. Are there any unpleasant situations that repeat again and again in your life? Are there any behaviors or patterns that you have inherited or copied from your parental figures that are not yours? Are there any beliefs that are stopping you from creating a life of joy and purpose? And in this step, one of the main things I would suggest doing is journaling. It is a great tool for self-discovery. But the idea in this step of the journey is to bring light to these areas with love, compassion, not with judgment, because this is the first step to healing. And I remember that when I started doing my therapy sessions, when I was studying my counseling master's degree, I was suddenly becoming aware of so many patterns, of so many things that weren't working, of so many experiences that weren't resolved, or of so much pain that my inner child had been through, that I thought, oh my God, I'm truly messed up. Like, this is a hell of a lot to fix. And I felt a bit overwhelmed, and I thought, well, maybe I was better before, when I was oblivious to all this. But no, it's like not being aware of what's going on. It's like being blind. You don't want to be blind. You want to see. And all these things, maybe you have identified, a limiting belief or a negative thought that you repeat to yourself, or maybe a situation that keeps happening again and again and again. Well, that's perfect. That is a perfect place to be, because it means that at least you are aware of that, and you can't change something you're not even aware of. So just seeing that, it's brave, it takes courage. So well done if you're at this stage. And yeah, the key is to, if you have answered those questions I've suggested, or if you're doing more journaling, the key is, as you answer those questions or reflect more on what you would like to change in your life, can you just be an observer? Just being aware of what's coming up for you without judging, and definitely without being harsh on yourself, because we can be our worst enemy. So this step is a lot about bringing light to those areas, not about making ourselves feel worse. It's about bringing light to those areas so we can transmute them, so we can heal them, so we can let go of them. Right? So what I like to do in my sessions when I work with my one-on-one clients is to help the person get clarity on their values, on the purpose, the life goals, So this is also, this was a huge, big step for me. I spent a lot of time here, especially when I was working in banking, and I felt so unfulfilled, and I felt that it was empty and meaningless. And I had to spend a lot of time just, like in that self-discovery process of understanding what were my life goals, what I wanted to do with my life, because I had been in the hamster wheel for so long that I had lost perspective. So this can take time, and don't rush it, because this is very important, and a lot of people underestimate the power of spending time, like I said, getting clarity on your values, your purpose, your life goals, creating that life map, to be very clear on your direction, so you have that motivation in mind. If you're going to start taking actions and changing things in your life, if you don't have a clear sense of direction or a clear motivation, it's going to be very, very, very difficult to beat the resistance to start implementing any changes to improve your life. So every time I work with someone, I like to create kind of a life map, and also to start visualizing it, and so you can start like really visualizing it and putting the energy onto it, because when you put energy in something, you attract it, you create it. So if you're very, very clear on what you want, and your vision is very clear, and you put your energy on it, on visualizing it 5 minutes every day, that's really, really powerful. So another question that I'm gonna ask here, that I'm going to invite you not to answer quickly here, but maybe to go and journal about it, or maybe go and meditate, or go to the park or somewhere in nature and think about it. What would your life map look like? Your direction, your motivation, the areas of your life that are important for you, and how you would like them to be. How would that compass or that life map look like? So like I said, some people are very, very clear on their values, on their life direction, but for some of you, it might be a huge part of the process, like it was for me back in the day, many years ago. So take your time. Don't try to rush this step. So step number 2 is healing the inner child to break free from the past. So if your inner child carries fears, insecurities, or pain that haven't been resolved, this will show up in your adult life. And this might come from an event in this lifetime, or from many lifetimes ago, or it might even be a fear or trauma or an inherited pattern from one of your ancestors. So all of these unresolved or unhealed situations can manifest as self-sabotage, as strong emotional reactions, anxiety, unhealthy habits, lack of self-belief, negative thoughts about yourself. It can show in many areas of your life, and normally it's not for your highest good. Normally it will hold you back. So what is key here regarding the inner child is to help the inner child feel safe, to rewrite her story and give her the love she needed in the first place. Because normally when I do inner child work with my clients, and maybe we're doing a healing or a visualization or a regression, and we're asking the inner child, what do you need? What do you need to feel safe in that situation? What do you need to hear? What do you need your adult self to do? Very common, the answer is, I just need love. I just need a hug. I just need someone to tell me that everything is going to be okay. Obviously, it's not the same for everyone, and this is a beautiful and very different experience for each person. But a common answer is, I just need love. I just need a hug. So, but the key is to help the inner child feel safe. If any part of your being feels scared, that's going to show up in your adult life as a form of self-sabotage, emotional reactions that seem not proportional to what's actually happening. And not to mention that if a part of yourself, if the inner child is scared, that old fear is going to be permanently triggering the fight or flight response, the stress response, which not only here we're not even talking about how it can hold you back from living your highest life. We're talking health here. If the fight or flight is always on, if your stress response is always on because the inner child doesn't feel safe, because part of you doesn't feel safe, we are not designed to have the stress response on or the fight or flight response on for long periods of time. It's a very wise defense mechanism against threats, but it is meant to be for emergencies and for real threats. We are not supposed to be in this state for long periods of time, because then the functions like digestion, healing, repairing, tissue regeneration, sleeping, when we're stressed, when we have anxiety, what is the first thing that happens? That we can't sleep properly. So all those functions are not a priority. The body understands that this is not a priority anymore. So it can even impact your health. So this is really important, this step, and to make sure that you feel safe. So what I'm going to invite you to do here, and there is a whole episode about healing the inner child in this podcast, by the way, but what I'm going to invite you to think about today is bring to mind a moment of your life when you experienced a challenge or a painful situation. And how is the inner child feeling? Close your eyes for a few seconds, bring your hands to the heart to improve that connection, and just ask, how is the inner child feeling? And what can you do to help your inner child feel safe? Like I said, most of the times the answer might be, I just need love, I just need a hug, I just need someone to protect me. So just listen to her and see what happens. And this is a powerful exercise, something that you can do a few minutes every day to check in with yourself, with your inner child, any parts of yourself. I like to do this especially in the evening before going to bed. It's kind of calming after a busy day at work, or especially if you have had a stressful day for whatever situation. If you have been triggered at any part of the day, it's a sign that maybe the inner child needs a bit of attention. So a great thing to do before going to bed, to kind of wind down before going to sleep, and bring the system back to balance. So step number 3 is reprogram the subconscious mind to develop an empowering mindset. Now, to develop an empowering mindset, and by developing an empowering mindset, what I mean is to make sure that most of the time, that more often than not, your self-narrative is going to be messages that support your growth, that support your development, and that are taking you closer to the life you want to live. Now, I think, I'm not going to say impossible, because why not? I might achieve it one day. But I think it's very, very difficult to have 100%, empowering thoughts and to not have a negative thought at all, or like 0 limiting beliefs. I don't know. If you're at this point, contact me, please, and let me know how you did it. But the idea is that more often than not, your mindset is serving you instead of fighting against you, right? So for that, to develop an empowering mindset, to make sure that your mind, that your thoughts, your self-narrative is helping you more than is holding you back, you will need to go deep into the subconscious mind to identify the beliefs or negative thoughts that are keeping you stuck in all ways of living and not allowing you to move forward. Because normally all these negative thoughts, limiting beliefs are deep, deep, deep in the subconscious mind and running the show from the shadows, normally. But then when you replace them with empowering new beliefs, that will bring you closer to the life of joy and purpose you deserve. Because it's like having a computer with a lot of old programs that are useless, that are just slowing it down and using up a lot of space and memory and of the processor. And then you're like, right, okay, I'm gonna delete these programs and I'm gonna install the ones that are gonna speed up my computer. But the thing is that those old programs are not in your desktop. I'm sure they're not very obvious in there. You might need to do a little bit of digging. They might be hiding there somewhere. But when you leave the overthinking and the negative thoughts behind, it is incredible. You are able to build a more positive self-talk, and that will support your growth and expansion. And the most powerful way I have found to do this is with theta healing. I think I've talked about theta healing in other episodes in this podcast, but I think I'm going to record one specifically for this energy healing technique because it's really, really powerful. And I have many theta healing recorded healing meditations on different topics on my YouTube channel. And many times people contact me to say that just from one of these healing meditations that they listen to, they notice something clearing or shifting. So go to my YouTube channel and choose the one that catches your eye, because like I said, I have many on different topics. But basically, the idea of theta healing is an energy healing discipline that is based on the idea that at the beginning we lead a guided meditation, and that takes us both. So for example, if I'm doing a one-on-one session, that will take us, so me and my client, to a theta brainwave, so a more meditative state, a more relaxed state of mind, where we can go deeper into the subconscious instead of just thinking from the logical mind, which is where we have the resistance, and it's going to do everything possible to stop us from changing or to go deeper into the subconscious. It's a way to protect ourselves. So when we can go deeper into that more kind of meditative state, and we can access the subconscious mind, it is incredible what comes up. And sometimes when I'm doing a session, before we start doing theta healing, the conversation is, I think I don't have a lot of confidence, or I would like to improve because I would like to apply to better jobs, or I would like to date someone nicer, and that's kind of like what the conscious mind is thinking about. And then we start doing theta healing, and then there will be a lot of, this belief and then this belief, or it would take you to a moment of time when you learned a belief about yourself, of the world, that is no longer serving you. So it's really, really powerful. And it's also based on the idea that with this guided meditation at the beginning, it takes us to the energy of creation, to God, to the creator, to the universe, to the divine, whatever you want to call it. So, but yeah, it's based on the idea that we are in that place where we are all connected, we are all one, infinite possibilities. So from there we can clear and replace these beliefs, we can heal, we can manifest. There's a lot of things that we can do when we are in that meditative state and supported by God. I love it because it's kind of a combination between meditation and prayer, which are two practices that I do every day. And yeah, sometimes I have been told that just from listening to a meditation, people have noticed a shift. So yeah. So if there are any topics in particular that you would like me to record a Theta Healing meditation on, let me know, because I have loads in the channel. But I always welcome new ideas. So yeah. So this step is all about the mindset, developing a more empowering mindset that serves you. And so the self narrative is more positive or empowering, or it just serves you more than it hurts you, right? Okay, so then we move on to step number 4, which is raising your confidence, your self-confidence, and reclaiming your power. Now, once the mindset is serving you and not working against you, so now once we've been through these steps and we are at this point, then you can start believing in yourself, because it's very difficult to believe in yourself with a lot of negative thoughts around. So when the negative thoughts are not that loud, then you can start reclaiming your power. You can start realizing that you're a powerful being. And at this point is when we shut up the inner voice that says that you're not good enough, that there is a problem with you, or that other people's needs are more important than yours, So we are clearing all these beliefs, and negative self-talk is the number one enemy of self-confidence. And this results in people-pleasing, keeping yourself small, living your life based on someone else's expectations. It doesn't result in living your highest life. But when you believe in yourself, when you start to develop a more empowering mindset that is, like helping you move forward, then you can start believing more in yourself. And when you believe in yourself and you are confident in what you're doing, life is much easier. It flows, and you can build your dream life. So, but for that, you need to believe in yourself. You need to believe that you're making the right decisions. You need to believe that what you're doing is good for you. Because when you're changing and you're growing and you're healing and you want to change your life, what you might see, and I see this in a lot of my clients, and I have experienced this myself, is that when you start to kind of elevate yourself because you've been doing some healing, some inner work, and you're changing, you're leaving old ways of living behind, and you want to start changing your habits and what you want to do with your life, and you're making different decisions, then people around you, maybe your family, maybe your partner, maybe your old friends, will start like, why are you doing that? And they might start criticizing you. You might feel judged. You might feel that you're not in resonance with them anymore. And this happens to so many people. And I mean, it makes sense because you're kind of elevating yourself. You're raising your vibration. You're going in this journey where you're going higher and higher to try to live your highest life, but they're not. So if they're not healing, if they're not growing with you, you're going to be out of alignment. So this is very normal, by the way. And I know this is very frustrating. I know this is very, very frustrating. But you will need to believe in yourself, because there might be this resistance. And for that, you need to build your self-confidence and really believe in yourself. And this step is all about reconnecting with your biggest inner treasures, with your skills, with your unique talents, with your inner wisdom. And as you realize your self-worth, you will become more and more empowered to take actions that are aligned with a joyful and authentic way of living. So obviously, if the inner child if your fight or flight system is on because the inner child doesn't feel safe, the inner child has been wounded so many times, and dealing with a lot of strong emotional reactions, being triggered emotionally pretty much every day, with a mindset that is telling you, with a lot of negative thoughts that is telling you that you can do it, that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve it, all those inner treasures, all those skills, all those talents get buried. They're not allowed to flourish, right? They're kind of hidden, buried, repressed by all this negative self-talk, by all these strong emotions, by the trauma. But as you start to heal that, as you start to clear that, then you can reconnect with all those big, really, really great inner treasures that you came here to share with the world. We all came here to share something, to do something with a soul mission, right? But with the mindset that is only encouraging negative self-talk, with our emotions being all over the place, is very difficult. It's very difficult to let them flourish. But here is where you can start putting a lot of emphasis on realizing your self-worth, on really unleashing all these inner treasures that are unique to you and that you came here, that you became here to share. So this is kind of like clouds, disappearing, so the sun can nurture the seeds, and they can start to grow, and they can start to flower, and they can start to blossom, right? So this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful part of the process. I mean, all of them are beautiful, but this is a very empowering and beautiful one, because it's a lot about taking back control of our life. At this point is where you feel that you can start taking back control of your life. And then we move on to step number 5, which is cultivate self-love to embody your true self. So once your inner child feels safe, you're breaking free from the conditioning of the past, you're raising your self-confidence, then you will start to see your true self, right? It's like the light starts to come from inside. That light wants to shine more and more, and then you start seeing your true self, because you have removed a lot of layers of programming, of conditioning, of what others expected you to be, and you starting to see your soul, your essence. You start to see who you truly are. Your true self has your essence, your innate talents, everything that makes you unique and special. Now, for this, you need to love yourself unconditionally, so you can really become the woman you were always meant to be. Not the one that others expect you to be or told you to be, the one that is the fullest expression of your higher self, of your soul. And for that, you need to love yourself unconditionally. Because if you don't love who you are, you can't manifest it. And please note that I'm not saying love yourself every now and then, and celebrate and give yourself credit when you do something right, but then beat yourself up when you mess up. No, I'm talking about unconditional love. And loving yourself unconditionally is probably one of the most challenging steps in the process. But in order for those inner treasures to flourish and to come out, and so they can be in its fullest expression, you would need to love who you are unconditionally. And you would need to love yourself the good days and the bad days as well. Actually, you will need to love yourself even more during the bad days, because it's when you will need it the most. So practicing self-love is always something that I recommend. I think there is a full episode on self-love as well, because this is a very, very, very important topic that I probably covered near the beginning. And self-love is what will allow to properly flourish, so your essence can properly flourish and be expressed in its fullest way. So we're coming now to our last step number 6, which is develop your intuition and access your higher guidance. So as you rid your busy mind of all beliefs and negative thoughts, then your mind will be in a much better place, in a much calmer place, and you will be able to access your intuition and listen to your higher self, which for me is the best and most powerful way to make decisions that are aligned with your soul's purpose. Because when you follow your higher self's guidance, and by the way, when I say higher self and soul, for me is the same concept. So I see it kind of as a higher dimensional, luminous version of ourselves that carries that essence, that is pure, that has the unique qualities, and that ultimately decided or chose the family to incarnate in, the lessons you would have to face or you would have to learn, the challenges you might need to face to learn these lessons, what you need to share with the world if you came to share your talents in terms of music, jewelry, books, if your mission is to help the environment, if it's to help people, if it's family orientated. And by purpose, please note that I'm not saying change the world, because that's not everyone's purpose, definitely not my purpose. Some people, reach or touch a lot of people's lives, or develop huge improvements, advancements, something really important for humanity. But sometimes your soul mission might be to just learn a lesson, and that's all you need to do for this lifetime. That's all you need to achieve, to learn that lesson. So don't you think that to follow your soul and you need to do something super big, or compare yourself to people who have like millions of followers and have impacted millions of lives, because that's not everyone's soul purpose. But yeah, when you follow your higher self guidance, life just flows, because it's like the part of you that knows what you came here to do. So if you listen to it, it's like having a one-on-one guide opening the space for you. It's like if you went to a dark forest, you would want a guide who knows the forest and who knows the beginning, the end, the challenges that you're going to face, the difficult, the rocky parts, to tell you, to show you some light, to shed some light, and to show you this is the way, so you don't get lost in the forest. So to make sure that you're following the right path to get you to whatever the destination. And sometimes it's not even about the destination, it's about how you live your path and how you live your journey. So when you connect with your higher self, with your soul, it's like having that one-on-one guidance. It's like having that one guide that is helping you navigate a dark and challenging forest. And life can be challenging. So it is definitely a bonus if you have a guide to help you navigate it. And for me, I have found that when I have made decisions based on my higher self guidance, everything just flows, everything is much easier. Now, I'm not saying that because sometimes it hasn't made logical sense for me. Sometimes it hasn't made logical sense in terms of the decision I was making, and sometimes I have had to choose between what my logical mind was telling me to do and what my soul was telling me to do. When I have followed my soul's guidance against my logical mind, it hasn't been easy, because I've always rebelled at the beginning, and I've always had doubts, but then eventually I've always found out that it was the right thing to do. So this is something I teach and that I talk about a lot in my content, in my programs, when I'm working with someone one-on-one, because this is just life-changing. So this step is about learning how to use and trust this magical skill in a safe and empowering way, because I see a lot of people it is very fashionable in the spiritual community. Everyone wants to channel as many beings as possible, and you don't need to channel anyone else. And actually, most of them are just tricksters. You don't need to channel anyone else. You have everything you need within you. Like, your soul is your best guidance. You don't need random guides, entities, ascended masters. I see a lot of danger in that. So, and I don't do that. And I don't, well, I was interested in that at the beginning. No, I just didn't feel it was safe. So the way I teach how to do this is in a very safe way, in a very grounded way, because what I see is that then these people who start like channeling all these whatever galactic beings, ascended masters, guides, whatever, they're all over the place. So I don't know any examples of people who are heavily involved with channeling this type of entities who I admire. Or sometimes I go to these fairs and they're always doing like readings and stuff like that, and I think, well, overall people don't look very healthy here. So I see a lot of danger in it. I know this is controversial, but anyway, this is what my soul is telling me to share. So for me, when I talk about developing your intuition and developing connection with higher guidance, is not about talking to other beings who God knows who they are and what their intentions are. It's about developing your connection with your true essence, because you have everything you need within you in a safe and empowering way. And for women, a big part of this is learning how to flow with your female cycle and optimize it in its different stages. Because when you do this skill just becomes a superpower. Because women work in a very different way to men. We are very different energetically, biologically. But what is not understood, I mean, I think this was pretty clear already, I'm not reinventing the wheel, but what is not commonly discussed and what is not understood is the power that lies within the female cycle. I had no idea about this, and learning about this completely changed my life. I recorded an episode on this because I could be talking about this for hours. But the idea is that in different stages of your cycle, naturally you have different energies, different skills are heightened. So knowing how to flow with this is like unlocking one of the most useful secrets. At least for me it was. And I was always I would always think that having a period was a burden, and even being a woman in general, and I didn't understand the changes in mood, in energy levels, and I found it very annoying. But learning about this helped me understand that it's like knowing the seasons, right? So if you know that now it's summer, but in 5-6 months time it's going to be winter, then you can organize your wardrobe to wear lighter clothes now and warmer clothes in the winter. But if you didn't know this, it would be like, so when you don't know what happens in your cycle, what energies are heightened, what's happening to your mood, what's happening to your hormones, is like wearing something randomly, not knowing if it's summer or if it's winter. So obviously if you're wearing a coat in the summer, you're going to boil. If you're wearing a summery dress in the winter, you're going to freeze your ass off. But it's having this information, so same as you flow with the seasons and you adjust the way you wear, the clothes you wear, throughout the cycle, it is important to adjust what you do to optimize it and to make the most of it. So during our period, if we allow ourselves to rest, which is what ancient traditions used to do, And they would even women would gather when they were on their periods to just rest and connect with their intuition, share their visions, their dreams. If we allowed ourselves to rest and to nurture ourselves like we need to and like we are supposed to, it is an optimal time of the month for meditation, to connect with your intuition, to receive inner guidance, to access your inner wisdom. Now, obviously, if you're just hating your life because you're in your period, because you're in pain, you're just pushing yourself to work the same hours, to do the same amount of work, to do the same amount of exercise, obviously you're hurting yourself. You're going against your own nature. But if you slow down whenever possible and you just listen inside, honestly, it is truly incredible. So I would invite you to try this. And if you don't menstruate anymore because you have become a super wise woman already, then you're just literally a ball of intuition. And it happens to a lot of women after going through menopause. The menopause, once they go through the changes, that they have a very strong or even a deeper layer of spiritual awakening. They might feel their clairvoyant skills even more developed. So yeah, and even women who don't menstruate anymore, there's still a connection with the cycles of the moon, for example. So yeah, like I said, I could talk about this for hours, and there is another episode in the podcast. But I just wanted to share this idea here. Okay, so that was the sixth step. So let's do a recap here before we wrap up. So the 6 steps of the process to step into your power are: 1, self-discovery to gain awareness; 2, heal the inner child to break free from the past; 3, reprogram the subconscious mind to develop an empowering mindset; 4, raise your self-confidence and reclaim your power; 5, cultivate self-love and embody your true self; and 6, develop your intuition and access your higher guidance. Now, I have described this process as a step-by-step linear process, but actually, this happens kind of in a circle/spiral, because healing happens in layers. And different people need to spend more time on one part of the process depending what the priorities are or the inner work they have done before. But I see it kind of as a spiral, and you go through this process again and again to heal deeper layers. So for example, when I started doing therapy many years ago, when I was studying my master's degree in counseling, a lot of the time I spent a lot of the time on awareness and inner child healing, so steps 1 and 2. But there was a time, because I hadn't done any inner work before, so there was a lot of, like I said at the beginning of the episode, like, oh my God, there are so many things that are not working here, so many ways I'm limiting myself, so many, traumatic experiences that I need to heal. So there was a lot of bringing that to my awareness and healing the inner child. But then when I started, and I think that was mainly when I was studying shamanic energy healing training, and I was doing theta healing, and so I was, I think I had experienced kind of the first steps of spiritual awakening, and I was starting to be more connected to myself, to my soul, my purpose. So there was another time of my life, like maybe a few years ago, I don't know, when I felt I was in a good place. I had done a lot of healing, and I felt like I was in a good state. My mindset was serving me more than hurting me. I felt calm, and all my focus was on developing my intuition and aligning myself with my soul's mission. I dedicated a lot of time to certain meditation techniques that I still do, but really give it a lot of time. And I remember when I was studying my shamanic energy healing training, I was because that discipline is so connected to nature, and they have so many ceremonies and ways to connect to nature and to flow with it. I felt like I was living an eternal ceremony, ritual, prayers. So it was very beautiful. It was very I felt very connected with my soul mission, and I did a lot of work on that. But now, after years and years of healing and inner work, I'm finding myself going back to step number 2 and doing a lot of inner child work. And I have been working with my inner child and on working some really, really, really deep layers that maybe I wasn't ready for before. So I've been, many times through the cycle, and sometimes a different topic comes up, another wound that needs to heal, another belief that needs to be let go of. So I see it as a circular process. So when I start working with someone, normally that's kind of the default, process or order that I would follow. But I have worked with many people who had done a lot of healing before, and they want to focus more on developing their intuition, or the topic for them is self-love. For some people, even after going through a lot of inner work and healing, they feel a strong need to kind of create a clear life map, because they feel that they're not manifesting their soul mission or the life they truly want to live. So it could perfectly be the someone starts when I work with someone, we start in step number 1, or we start with step number 4, or maybe we go directly to developing an empowering mindset and to change those beliefs. So what I would love to hear from you is, what stage or what part of the process do you think that would be a priority for you? Or just, take some time to reflect, like, if you've been through this circle, how many times have you been in this circle? The answer might be 1, the answer might be 100, I don't know. What stages of the circle, or what steps of the process have you been through? How they've been for you? Because sometimes they happen spontaneously. Sometimes awareness, healing can happen spontaneously from a situation in life. Sometimes we face a challenge precisely, so we can learn a lesson, so we can let go of something that is no longer serving us, so we can realize our self-worth. So I would love to hear from you, like I always do. And like I said before, if you have any suggestions for next episodes or for my healing meditations, please do reach out, because I receive your requests and I always try to put it in some form of content. So please let me know. And even if the question might sound silly, it is not. And a lot of other people are probably asking themselves the same question as you are. So feel free to let me know. And I think that is all from me. So I'm going to ask you a favor, which is, if you're enjoying this podcast, if you enjoyed this episode, to subscribe, give it a good review, and share it with your loved ones, and invite as many people as possible to be part of the Empowered Souls podcast. Okay, my loves, so I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next week with another episode. For now, I'm sending a lot of love and light to you all. Bye bye.